I was part of Hubert Humphrey Fellowship Program, which is a program financed by US Congress, supported by US Congress. You can also in future apply to this program after you gain 5 years professional experience and have some leadership skills. You can apply for this program. When I once settled in first in Montana state, the city where I arrived firstly was Missoula. I was thinking what to do and how to explore this country, and the volunteerism was one of the aspects of my study there. Do we know which day is International Volunteers Day? Probably. It's in December. I don't remember. I guess December 5th is International Volunteers Day, when globally we celebrate the contribution of people to the public good. So I spent 1 year and 2 months, and I started my journey in the United States in 2016. It was my first year. I've never been to the United States before. And in spring, I think it was beginning of April, I arrived to Missoula. It's a small town in Montana state. Have you ever heard about Montana state? Yeah. They have the same nature as we have, like pretty much Kyrgyzstan looks like, so because it has high mountains. I hike it a lot. It has a lot of green trees and trails where you can explore beautiful nature of the United States. My next experience of volunteering was in Arizona state, and when I compare the states where I was a visitor in the United States, I also say Kyrgyzstan has its own Arizona. Where is our Arizona is?
Canyon Сказка?
Yes.
Высоко ли?
Fairy tale canyons, and also we have Konorchek. So we have some parts which reminds us Grand Canyons. We also have many parts which looks like, I don't know, Utah, state Utah, or Montana, or Wisconsin, or Michigan. Because, and I think in our small country we have some different parts of United States geography. My program was also not only about studying, learning learning what media professionals do in the United States, but also I decided through volunteering explore the country. And I guess if you are new to the country and if there are some volunteering opportunities, please apply and try, because through this experience you can learn about not only the country, but the people, the habits, the culture, and the way how they think and live. Some historical background to volunteerism in the United States. So, as I told you, it has long roots in the history of the country. From the Revolutionary War to the Women's March, the United States has had a long history of volunteering. And here is a picture from Ithaca, Queensland, and the volunteers from around the world came to this city to address the influenza epidemic through the Women's Emergency Corps. So this is an old picture of how people united and started to collaborate and volunteer for public good. In 1831, French political scientist this Alexis de Doppel, when he visited United States. In his work, Democracy in America, he noticed in the United States, as soon as several inhabitants have taken an opinion or an idea they wish to promote in society, they seek each other out and unite together once they have made contact. From that moment, they are no longer isolated, but have become a power seen from afar, whose activities serve as an example and whose words are needed. So this quote says about how, I guess not only in the United States, even in our culture, my presentation will be mixed with some local pictures where we also have those kind of long history of volunteering. Do you know Kyrgyz ashar word? Like when we also have these gatherings and try to collaborate with each other and to help other people too. So probably you've heard about many different Kyrgyz initiatives based on ashar method. So this is also about volunteering. So here is also some pictures from 20th century. You know, there is a huge civil rights movement in this period, and at that period, political activism or like volunteering and supporting civil rights was also popular. And in 1961, Peace Corps, probably some of the volunteers of, you know, the representatives of Peace Corps in our country. This organization was founded and they started to create opportunities for volunteering in communities around the world. So, including now Kyrgyzstan, I don't remember when they started to come to our country, I guess in the beginning of 90s. Do we have in your university a Peace Corps volunteer? Many universities have their Peace Corps, not only universities but some NGOs, especially it was popular among the secondary schools in the villages, and as I know they are good in studying Kyrgyz language and then absorbing Kyrgyz culture and like playing musical instruments, I don't know, singing. And volunteerism is also, like American volunteers also come to Kyrgyzstan to explore our country, to help our people, to educate and also to learn about our culture. So this is how the volunteerism started in the United States, and I guess 2020 was a year of volunteerism, especially in Kyrgyzstan. Here is what happened in United States. Coronavirus spread globally, and of course many people around the world started to help each other during this period. What numbers say about involvement of Americans, and I found the recent research study that 77.4 million Americans volunteered 6.9 billion hours, so they also count the hours, how many hours they spent in 2017, and estimated value of that contribution is $167 billion. So it's how huge the contribution of volunteers for the development of the society. And here is also statistic from U.S. Census Bureau, Bureau of Labor Statistics, that 30.3% of adults have participated in volunteering activities. Our country, unfortunately, doesn't count our volunteer contribution, but I guess we will have also a huge number of contribution in hours, in money, how our society helps to each other. So who are the volunteers? Most of them Generation X, which is, who is Generation X? My question. Because there are several boomers, Generation X, Millennials, Z. You are, as I know, Generation Z. So Generation X probably we?
Yeah.
But I was so like...
I thought it was 2000 or...
so it's X, Y, so there is Y, Millennials, and then Z. So it means, I guess, who was born in 70s, between 70s and 80s. So there, and then
You're X.
X?
Yeah.
81. So is it X?
It's like 70s. 70s.
So most of the volunteers who recently volunteered, they are Generation X, X, and the volunteer rate for women is higher than men. I guess we will have also the same kind of rate. The most generous state in America is Utah. Have you ever heard about the Utah state?
Yes.
Salt Lake City is capital of that state. It's also on the western part of the United States. I've been in 2019 and lived in a Mormon family. It's a very religious state, very religious, and I found out that like super religious. And the family where I live with, they even haven't drank their coffee and tea, so it wasn't allowed. And for me, for coffee drinker, was a little bit uncomfortable, and they don't drink alcohol. But they're super. In the case of my trip, they met me in the airport and like kind of volunteered for my stay there because I was hosted by them and they were very hospitable. And I was very grateful for their hospitality. And this state is one of, among, I guess also because of the religion, they are very good in volunteering. So what I noticed while I was there, that there are many opportunities. You will like search in internet, like I was in Missoula, and like it's a small town, small university, and like I found many opportunities to volunteer, and there is a website there, Volunteer Match, so you can find any kind of organization which you like, and you can like match with other type of type of activities you want to volunteer, and with organizations. So unfortunately we don't have such kind of website, but hope maybe some of you will decide to connect people with different other organizations. But each organization in the city had the opportunity for volunteering. Even in university, you had a lot of volunteering opportunities. So, but another number, the lowest rates of volunteers were observed at the age of 20-24. I guess it's also your age, young people. I guess because people usually study, spend time in university, gaining knowledge in universities. I volunteered a lot with elderly people and I guess this is also opportunity for our community because we have many people who are on retirement and they don't know what to do. Probably this community could be involved in volunteering in Kyrgyzstan too, in more systematic way. But in the United States, they have it in organized and structured way. Here is a picture of 2010, the conflict in the south and the clash, the ethnic clash we had in our country, and you know many buildings were destroyed, the streets, and in Jalalabad this picture was taken there. Like people built houses for those who in need, and help for free. So this is, I'm again repeating that every organization I mentioned, here I put the link to the website so you can explore on your own. This is my favorite experience. Once I came to Missoula, one of the bad things which I found in the United States, without car you can't move. Like there is the very poor public transportation, especially in small towns. And in my town, the convenient way to reach some destinations were bikes. And there was a community bike shop which gave me a bike for free for volunteering for hours there. And it's one of the oldest bike shops, and I thought that everywhere in the United States they had such kind of bike shops, but it turned out it was specific for Montana state. This is the way Bob, who was founder of that organization, and he believes that it's important to volunteer and to create these opportunities for community. And this was my bike, which I used for several months while I was studying. And one of the, I think, we don't have such type of organization in our country, but there are many organizations or companies for volunteering opportunities in food banks, where they also spread food for people in need or vulnerable groups. And with the Humphrey Fellows from different countries, in Arizona State, we also volunteered for this St. Mary Food Bank, and about 2-3 hours we spent packing the food into boxes and then spreading for the beneficiaries of that food bank. Does it make sense? Do you understand me clearly?
Yeah.
How do you know how many boxes you needed?
I think they had this system, organized system. It's they have special room for packing, special room for organizing different types of food in one box. And then we didn't spend time for distribution. I guess they have their own system of distribution to the people who joined this program. Another experience, Sierra Club. Have you ever heard about the organization Sierra? It's like international Sierra. We have Sierra Cafe. So Sierra Club is an international organization which helps to preserve nature, life. And to my surprise, it turned out in Arizona state there is no mountains, there is no any like green trees, only cactuses and desert. But even desert needs protection. Yes, protection. And there is a certain chapter of this organization which works and helps the special, like there are some lands, public lands, where you have to organize this. With this group of people, I spent time organizing these sticks, and for identifying this place is wildlife, like wilderness place. So we don't have such kind of signs in our country. Like when this is the place should be protected. No cars, no bikes. They call it wilderness area. And even in desert, they had that kind of areas to protect. And I spent also like half of the day with these people, like organizing this signs for that this is a protected area.
Here we call them like zapovednik.
Yeah, but this was not zapovednik. It was not national park. It was just wilderness area. And for me it was like, oh my god, this is like just desert, why they should, but even those kind of lands should be protected, and people should know that they shouldn't come with bikes or with other type of vehicles, only hiking in that area. So in order to people knew that the thing they like have these signs for on trails. So, and you see here is all the organization I've volunteered. The first one, Phoenix Art Museum, where I spent, I guess, more than 20 hours of volunteering as like different roles. You can choose role, even like time, on their website when it's convenient for you to come and to volunteer. And like sometimes it's just leading people to the exhibition. Sometimes one was event where they fundraised for the museum, and I was selling the tickets to raffle tickets to on that event. And these people whom I volunteered with, it was an event where we were selling those tickets. Another interesting experience, there is an international choral festival, so chorus, people who are singing. They have not annual, but I think once in 2 or 3 years in Missoula, the gathering of many choral teams or choral bands from all over the world. And when I was in 2016 there was an international choral festival which was totally on volunteer base. So people, local people, volunteered to host the guests, to serve the food for the guests, to organize everything on the stage. And this was just everything organized and done by volunteers. And they gave me a t-shirt, even t-shirt, like we usually don't care about t-shirts, we just take and go with those t-shirts. They told me, like, because they are very eco-oriented, so they should wash and then give these t-shirts, volunteer t-shirts, for the next upcoming event. So it was like, you know, yeah. But I took my t-shirt with my and I asked them to take me as a like memory, yes, as a souvenir. And I still have this yellow t-shirt which has a sign well, I am like volunteer. And it was very beautiful, concerts, interesting people. There were bands from Estonia, from our part of the world, and Georgia, beautiful voices. And of course, I had an access to all these concerts for free. And one of the tasks I was given, and for me it was very weird experience, collecting money, donations from the people. And I never collected money from the people, and for me it was like, oh my God, how I would
like a beggar.
Yeah, like for me it's like humiliation, like with the box. Yes, but now I think it was a nice experience. Now we have many here in our country also people who ask donations, and I think it's okay. So here is the links. You can look over those links to check how they organize volunteering opportunities for their audience, because you can choose the time, the type of activity, everything. So I guess I've never seen such kind of organized way of working with volunteers. So, as I told you, volunteer is very connected with fundraising for the good. So here is also organization which helps to women in need, so to vulnerable girls and women who are in some difficult situations. And I was a volunteer on the event, they had annual event where they collect expensive shoes from like people who don't need, and they bring their shoes and bags, and we sell them and then like fundraise for this shelter. I volunteered there also by organizing the stuff in the shop during that event. And one of the particular thing which they organize race on high heels. So people can run on high heels, and it's fun, but like it's also like kind of attractive moment for this event and
amusement.
Yes, yeah. But the whole idea is to fundraise, also to help those women and girls, but also to spend one day like.
Could you explain, please, for them, because they don't know what is fundraising?
Fundraising? What is fundraising? Fund, it's like money, raising money for something. So we can all fundraise. Many charity organizations usually fundraise in our country, and I guess the most popular or most, for me, touching and campaign was fundraising for this small little girl, Aruzat, which they gained and they gathered the amount of money which they needed for the operation. For me, it's one of the, like, I guess, successful campaigns, fundraising campaigns in recent 2 months. What do you think?
Yeah.
Because the whole Bishkek city, I guess, knew about who is Aruzat, what kind of...
Not only Bishkek, but neighboring cities as well.
Yeah, yeah, like that's... Do you think it was successful? Because recently they announced they collected all the money they need, and they closed the fundraising campaign, and now it's over. They will, I guess, start to prepare for operation. Here's my colleagues from from Soros Foundation Kyrgyzstan. It was 2015 or 14. Habitat in Kyrgyzstan. It's also an international organization which also has a chapter in the United States where I also served as a volunteer. But here in Kyrgyzstan they also built houses for and repair houses for the disabled people. In this case was a woman who had a child, disabled kid, and we are together with my colleagues spent some time working in her yard and then collected money and gave her like for her kid. So my observations here is like my kind of conclusions what that experience which I had in the United States with volunteering. So they have a lot of resources. So each organization has its own opportunity for volunteering, and it's good. And it's very organized. Like if you look over this websites, you will find especially volunteer section where you can immediately write to the staff and connect about that opportunity. Internet, so many different organizations and different internet platforms can match you with volunteer opportunities all over the states. An organization's website structured, which is like good, so you will find those kind of opportunities. They have special departments, or if the organization chair it like totally on charitable base, they departments, volunteer coordinators, so you will be informed what to do, how to do, how many hours, so everything is well organized. Universities also have many opportunities for volunteering. Museums, like I wish we had the volunteering opportunity for our museums. I know that they recently announced volunteering opportunity for being guide, but I guess it's better to be like to know about the expositions and the exhibitions of the museum in order to volunteer on that opportunity.
I guess it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the money to pay for guides, that's why they need to.
Yeah. But this is also like an option. Volunteer only events, so that choral festival which I mentioned, like that kind of, so you can organize totally everything on volunteer base. Encouragement from employers, so it means like once we had a guest lecture from one company, and she said they have special programs, so their staff, if they spend some hours or like certain amount of time for volunteering, they not have privilege, but they like encourage them, and so it's good. And long-term programs, so you can build with certain type of organizations which you like. For example, in my case was Phoenix Art Museum. For me it was important to attend their exhibitions, to see their art, and like for several events I volunteered and I enjoyed them. And they have this kind of motivational programs for the long-term volunteers, and of course convenient time for volunteering. That's like you can choose even like I wanna volunteer and work from 2 till 4. Like they will give those time slots. This is Bob's yard, that bike shop which I mentioned in the beginning. He organizes those kind of concerts, community gatherings. Here is like food, and it's very cozy and like lovely. Like I like it, those kind of activities around volunteering. Hospice of Missoula. It's a. Do we know what is hospice?
Do you know?
So what people do there?
Care of old people.
Not only all people, people who actually die, like in the final stage, and so they can die with dignity. And those kind of institutions, like in Europe, in United States, they have, I guess, more than in our country. We don't have specialized hospices. We have a hospice for kids. I will then share their link. But we have palliative care. What is the care which they are taken? It's palliative care. So here it's Hospice of Missoula, where I also spent one day with old people, just talking, and it was my volunteering experience with elderly, with people, like patients, or how to say, of this hospice. And you see the opportunities for volunteering. Certified pet therapy, musical volunteers, so you can come and play music, honoring veterans, provide legal companionship, administrative work. Even like just being to talk or like being accompanied by those people, it's also volunteering experience, and you can also help them. Just sharing the photo of the journalists and media experts and communication specialists from 11 countries, 10 countries, and it was my Humphrey cohort, so the Humphrey Fellows, who was part of the program in the United States. It was in Arizona, where I studied media and communications. Talking about palliative care and hospices, we don't have hospices, but we have palliative care departments within National Oncology Center. And here my colleague Ilim and me, we grains. Those, you know, this tradition came from Japan. We made origamis and then spread those paper cranes to the patients of the palliative care department. And we brought some food, and it was a International Palliative Care Day. So on some calendar days you can also serve as a volunteer and bring good for those communities. Here is the resources for you. Unfortunately, the first website which I checked wasn't updated since 2021, I guess. But Red Crescent, it's like Krasny Krest, they have still till now opportunity for volunteering. And UNICEF, they closed their volunteer program, but I guess next year they will announce again, so you can become a volunteer for the organization which take care about kids and kids development in all over the world. And here is my article with all the links and my experience which I shared here in Russian. You can find this article on Medium. Kyrgyzstan Against Cancer, it's also a volunteer movement. The first children's hospice Pomagать Lегко. Also, they usually, I guess, sometimes organize some volunteer activities. Botanical garden named after Gariyev, and Adra Babushka Adoption. You can help to elderly and people who are retired in Kyrgyzstan too. There are some opportunities in Facebook groups on orphanages and helping children with disabilities. After I came to Kyrgyzstan, I started to volunteer for Toastmasters International Public Speaking Club as a club member and by organizing those community events in the library, and several times I was part of volunteering activities of Botanical Garden. I guess soon they will organize something too, because usually in spring they have those kind of volunteering.
As soon as we get rid of snow.
Yeah, as soon as we get rid of snow, and I guess with all this, not only Botanical Garden, but maybe other organizations will also organize some volunteering opportunities, like organizing subotniks. I guess many universities also will do it. National Volunteer Week in the United States. This year they announced April 17, so they celebrate the contribution of volunteers to the development of the society, and they share their successes, their results, and they cheer up those volunteers who made the job. What is, in my case, with my experience in the United States, what was important for me? Through volunteering, I learned about the country, about the people. I made friends with the people. I also learned about some kind of like habits and culture part of the Americans. It's a huge country. It's diverse. State by state, they're different. And in our country, last year, 2020, it was totally about volunteering. Probably most of you also volunteered when we had this Black July. Many young people helped to people who were infected by coronavirus. And thanks to volunteers, I guess we survived.
Yes.
And with that, I want to say that thanks to volunteers and to this like active civic society in Kyrgyzstan, we can talk, we can help each other, we can build better society. And the image of volunteers in Kyrgyzstan.
It's like peacefulness and happiness. So since I became recently myself like volunteer, it's too important to me, and I want to show and tell our college. So first of all, children are our future, and how they are happy, our future will be so bright. And of course, our grandmothers, grandfathers, they need support, moral support, of course. And we have a lot of children and all people who need some help and projects. And of course, first of all, the most important, we want to protect children's and women's rights. especially in our countries, you know. And so it's really important. And as we study international relations, no war, only peace. And so friendship and volunteers and doctors. We are superhero like Marvel. So thank you for attention.
Who worked on your collage?
My team.
Could you stand up? The concept was about women, children, protecting, and peace.
Yeah. And,
Thank you. And the next. Collage, and we presented all the works you've done during 30 minutes.
I would like to express our gratitude to our dear lecturer who delivered us a special lecture for you. Let's applause.